This is Sandra. Sandra did everything right. She worked hard, spent less than she earned, and put $400 every month into her savings account for 10 years straight. She never missed a single month. She never touched the money. She did what every financial advice column told her to do, and after 10 years, she was nearly $28,000 poorer than her neighbor David, who invested the exact same amount. Now, don't get me wrong, David wasn't smarter. He wasn't richer. He didn't get lucky on some hot stock tip. He just knew one thing that most people are never taught, a thing so simple it will feel almost too obvious once you see it. And today, we're going to show you the exact math year by year so you can see it for yourself. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what to do with your own money. And that decision could be worth tens of thousands of dollars over the next decade. Okay, first of all, let's make this completely fair. Sandra and David are the same age, 45, same income, $60,000 a year, same city, same monthly budget. They both have a spare $400 a month after paying all their bills. Neither of them has any credit card debt. Neither of them is starting with any savings. They are identical in every way except one, what they each choose to do with that $400 every single month. Sandra is careful with money. She's not reckless. She's not naive. She remembers 2008, the financial crisis, when people watched their retirement accounts drop by 40% almost overnight. She saw her parents get burned by a bad investment. She's heard the horror stories, so she makes what feels like the responsible choice. Every month, $400 goes straight into a high-yield savings account, paying 4.5% annual interest. It is FDIC insured. The money is guaranteed. She sleeps perfectly well at night. And honestly, that matters. David, on the other hand, is not some finance genius. He doesn't watch markets all day. He doesn't trade individual stocks. He doesn't even particularly enjoy thinking about money. He just opens a simple brokerage account, puts it into a total stock market index fund, one single fund that automatically owns a tiny piece of every major company in America, sets up an automatic $400 monthly contribution, and then genuinely forgets about it. He doesn't check it every week. He doesn't panic when headlines get scary. He just lets time do the work. Both start with $0. Both put in exactly $400 a month. Neither withdraws anything. Neither adds extra. We run this for exactly 10 years, and then we look at every number, not just the pretty ones. Year 1, Sandra has been faithfully depositing $400 every month. She's put in $4,800. Her account now shows $5,009. That extra $209, that's 4.5% interest doing exactly what it promised. It feels good. It feels real. It feels safe. David has also put in $4,800. The market had a decent year, up about 10%. His index fund is worth $5,040. They are almost exactly even, literally a $31 difference. Neither of them is impressed. This doesn't feel like anything is happening. Year 3. Sandra now has about $15,400. She has earned over $900 in interest on top of what she put in. That's real money she didn't have to work for. David's portfolio sits at about $16,700 to $16,800. He's now roughly $1,200 to $1,400 ahead. Still not dramatic. But here's what's starting to happen beneath the surface. David's returns are now generating their own returns. Not just his $400 contributions, but the money those contributions earned last year is also earning money this year. It's a snowball. And it's just started rolling. Year 5. Here's where you start to notice something. Sandra has about $26,900. She's earned roughly $2,900 above what she put in. For a savings account, that is genuinely impressive. she did everything right. But David's index fund is now around $31,000. He is roughly $4,100 ahead of Sandra. And while it won't grow in a straight line every single year, over time, the higher return rate tends to widen that gap significantly. Year 7. Sandra has about $39,500. David has around $48,000 to $48,500. The gap is roughly $8,500 to $9,000. In the beginning, David's 10% return was applied to a small base of about $5,000, so the gains were only around $500 per year. But by year 7, his base has grown to over $43,000. If returns average around the same rate over time, that would be over $4,000 per year in growth, simply because the base is larger. That is the engine of compound growth. Same percentage, bigger base, bigger impact, and over long periods, that effect becomes more and more powerful. Year 10. Sandra opens her banking app, and she is proud, and she should be. She has been disciplined for a full decade. The screen shows about $60,500. She put in $48,000 and earned roughly $12,500 in interest. That is money she never had to actively work for. No trading, no volatility, no sleepless nights, just steady, predictable growth over time. She did it. Then she runs into David at the neighborhood block party. He casually mentions he just checked his account. His index fund balance, about $81,900. He also put in $48,000, the same $400 a month for the same 10 years. But instead of earning about $12,000 in interest like Sandra, he earned roughly $33,000 to $34,000 in gains. That's almost 3 times more profit from the exact same monthly contribution over the exact same decade. And here's what happens if we just extend the timeline 5 more years to year 15 without either of them changing a single thing. Sandra's savings account grows to about $84,500. David's index fund reaches approximately $163,000. The gap is now $78,500. That's not a rounding error. That's a brand new car. That's a year and a half of someone's full salary. That's the difference over 15 years between 2 people who started in the exact same place and made one different decision at age 45. Now, here is what I'm not going to do. I am not going to tell you Sandra was wrong, because she wasn't, not entirely. And I'm not going to pretend the stock market is some magic machine that always goes up, because it isn't. A savings account has real advantages that an index fund simply cannot give you. And if I don't mention them, I'm not giving you the full picture. First, the stock market is not guaranteed, not even close. In 2022, the S&P 500 dropped 19.4% in a single year. That means if David had $60,000 in his account and he watched it fall to $48,600 in the space of a few months, that is not just a number on a screen. That is gut-wrenching. And here is what the data tells us. Many ordinary investors panic when this happens. They sell, they lock in their losses, and then they sit on the sidelines while the market recovers without them. The math only works if you stay in. So here's the real answer, the one nobody online says because it's not dramatic enough for a thumbnail. You need both. Savings and investing are different tools for different jobs. A savings account protects you. Investments grow you. That's why financial planners recommend keeping 3 to 6 months of expenses in savings, money that's safe, liquid, and immediately accessible if life goes wrong. But money you won't need for years? That's where investing starts to matter. Historically, the longer your time horizon, the more the odds shift in your favor. And here's what changes everything. What if Sandra had done both? Imagine she kept a $15,000 emergency fund in savings, then invested her $400 a month into an index fund instead. 10 years later, she'd still have her safety net, plus roughly $73,000 invested, security and growth. That's the version that actually works in real life. But it's never the version that gets the clicks.